Hey, Donna. Nice to see you.
Hey,
I
how's it
chat
going?
good. I chat to you all the time on the phone, and it's nice to see your face. Um, I do miss Brisbane a little bit. Only the weather. I miss the weather of Brisbane.
I can
Uh,
understand that.
hey, so I wanted to share something with you. Um, I was doing my planning for 2020 for the talk show, The Red Hot Truth, and I came up with this idea that I wanted to share with you because I would love you to come on board. And we've spoken a little bit about it on the phone, but I wanted to do this recording of sharing it with you so we can share it with our audience and with our community to invite them to come on too. And so I was just thinking about what are my goals for next year or what are my aspirations? And I was, I came up with this concept of coming out. I was thinking about,
Mm,
well, what does it mean to come out? And often coming out for me means I associate that with someone being gay and then,
yeah.
them hiding their true identity, right? And, um, and they hide their identity out of fear because they're scared of what other people think of them. They're scared how their loved ones will respond to them. They're scared of how the world will respond to them being their true selves. And I thought, man, I'm not gay, but I do know what it's like to hide. I do know what it's like to hide out of fear of showing my true self and my true identity. And, when I was 10, um, my mother entered a relationship with a very abusive man. And so, for 13 years of my life, I had to hide who I was because I was afraid of being beaten. And then when I went to high school, like from the minute I walked into those gates, I was bullied. And so I was bullied at home and I was bullied at school, and I became this incredible chameleon. Like this
Mm,
this person who could just adapt to the environment because I had to feel safe because there was nowhere to feel safe. And in
mm,
that process, I lost who I was, and so
right.
I was thinking, there are other people out there that are feeling like this. They're in a
Mhm.
dark hole and they want to come out. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be great? And and this is the real reason why I started the Red Hot Truth. That's because, you know, that situation when growing up, I eventually left South Africa and I went traveling and I did personal development and I finally started uncovering or rediscovering who I was, um, and the truth of who I was. And I wanted to share that with others. And that's why I started the Red Hot Truth talk show. But even before that, remember, I interviewed you way
Yeah.
before that because I was doing interviewing, right? Because you had an incredible and have an incredible story to share and about your truth. And I was like, well, I know it's really hard finding your truth. Like, we want to live our truth, but how do we unpeel all the layers and the masks to, to rediscover who we are? And with the Red Hot Truth talk show, I wanted to show different ways of doing that. And after doing it for about 6 months, I sort of realized, and thinking about 2020, I sort of realized, hang on, I'm hiding. I'm still hiding. It's been 8 years now, and I was reflecting on how I've been hiding. And what was happening for me was that I now know sort of who I am, but I don't know how to show up as that person in the world. And um, I was still comparing myself to how I felt people saw me and how I needed to be. And that caused me to play small. Like, I didn't go for jobs that I wanted, I didn't go for the friends that I wanted, I didn't live where I wanted. I wanted to live by the beach for years now, and I haven't made that happen. And I just like, I know who I am. I'm outgoing and I'm vibrant. And of course, I'm funny. I'm funny. If you don't know I'm funny, by the way. That's how do I show up in as that person and be okay? And it was only really when I discovered Barbara Sher's work just recently about scanners and what scanners are. And they're the kind of people who love learning and love starting projects and want to experience everything in life, that I finally understood who I really am and why I behave the way I behave. And it gave me such clarity about how to show up in this world. And so what I've decided for 2020 is to show up in this world. What's ringing? Of course, the one thing I don't turn off rings. And and so my greatest inspiration, my dream, my mission in life is to travel the world to speak, to inspire. That's it. And I know that I've been through such hardship, and coming to show my truth and live my truth and speak my truth has been such a journey. I know that there are so many women out there who want to live that. And I know that my gift as a communicator is to share that message. And I've been hiding because I wasn't sure how to do it. So in 2020, I've decided to follow that dream, to give it my all. You sent me a beautiful podcast that said, go in and going deep. But I'm doing it as me, not as how I want to be, how I think I should be, or how I think people tell me to be, but as me. And it's a total experimentation. And and lastly, and this is why I've reached out to you, because you're my friend and I love you, is that I think one of the core reasons we don't live our truth and we don't show up as ourselves is because we're disconnected. And we feel that when we fall with our face in the dog shit, that there's no one to pick us up. There's no one saying, look, you'll be fine. It's okay. It's okay. And I didn't want to do this on my own, because I knew that would be, lead to failure. And so I've invited you in, and I wanted to share this with you. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and just to share that with our audiences too.
Yeah, wow. Well, Petra, first of all, I want to just acknowledge you for opening up so much and being so vulnerable and authentic, with what your experience has been over the last few years, and now acknowledging that you want to come out. And when you said to me, well, I'm going to do this, coming out, and I was like, hold on a minute, And as you said, this is the kind of programming in society that we have, right? We think we have that connotation straight away when we hear that word, or those two words, coming out, and we immediately relate it to sexuality. And unlike you, I haven't been hiding, but I think for me, coming out, there has certainly been an aspect of my life I've been hiding. And, I am a very vibrant, energetic, kind of happy soul, but there are times where I am not that person. There are times where I am struggling. There are times where there are days, that are really tough, and I don't show that to the world. I don't show those moments to the world. I tend to isolate myself, and I agree with you 100% that I feel that since social media, we have become more disconnected. And I'm talking about in a physical sense, back in the days when we would have a group of 5 friends, but they would be very close, and, we'd be able to share everything, every intimate part of our life with them, and know that they kind of had our back. But now we can have 5,000 friends and yet feel very alone. And it's quite amazing that on a fairly regular basis, I feel that. And, I have such a huge support network, people that are sharing how inspiring I am, and my story of, childhood trauma, and I've shared a similar sort of experience with you when it comes to being bullied at home, bullied in school, following my mother's murder, and, my father going to prison. And so there was, a lot of ongoing trauma in my life, and a lot of, working through process to work through and heal from that experience. And I believe that certainly our lives and how we kind of, I guess, our lives are evolving constantly. So for me, it's not a matter of kind of, okay, now I know who I am and I can show myself to the world and be that person today, and that's who I am. Because tomorrow I'm someone else. I'm someone different. And every day we're evolving and we're changing, and you know, we're never the same, you know, 1 minute to the next. So I think it's important too, because we have so much pressure on ourselves now to to compare ourselves to others and their success and what they're achieving, because it's in our face every day on social media. And I know for me, I find this really challenging because I tend to, you know, compare myself to people that are reaching their probably more financial sort of goals than we are, even though, you know, I feel that we are making a huge impact and making a positive difference in the world with sharing our stories, sharing our tools, serving, coming from a serving heart on a regular basis. But there's still that aspect of frustration, that aspect of, I guess, envy that I have to check in with regularly. And I have to monitor and I have to be aware of and continually kind of catch myself. And that's a side that I don't show to the world. And, you know, the side of missing my husband when he's away 60% of the year. And I'm out there doing everything that I'm doing and not having that support, that kind of rock, that person that, you know, is following a similar kind of journey and purpose as myself. And I'm very lucky. I feel very grateful that I have such an amazing person in my life that I can share this journey with. But yes, I agree. I think there's an aspect of me that needs to come out that, you know, I think, you know, Brené Brown puts it so beautifully when she says it's our inability to be vulnerable that makes us weak.
Well, it's
And
interesting. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. I'm interested
so
in
I
that
think,
term,
yeah,
vulnerability, because vulnerability suggests that we are unsafe. And yeah, it's vulnerable means, for me, vulnerable means being true to yourself, showing up as yourself in the world. Why is that label vulnerable attached to that? So, you know, that's a really interesting one for me. That vulnerability is, for me, means you're unsafe, showing yourself as being unsafe, instead of just saying, show up as who you are. That's it, you know, and
yeah,
not attaching a label to it. And then
yeah,
not going, I'm being vulnerable right now, so, you know, please handle me with care because I'm being vulnerable. No, this is who I am, and this is my emotion, and this is it, right? And
and
so,
this is okay, and
and this
it's
is
okay.
okay. It's not vulnerable or courageous or whatever. It just is, you know. And
Mm,
I think that's I think when we start putting labels to these things, that's
mm,
when we start, you know, creating a story around it. And
yeah,
that's what I think is really happening in the personal development space as well. Is there's, you know, we put all these labels around it, and yes, of course, in the beginning, and you and I putting ourselves out there as us does open us up to scrutiny, right? And equally, it opens us up to um, encouragement as well. But
mm,
the whole idea of it is that you can show up in the world as you and be okay, so okay with who you are, that neither the encouragement or the criticism matters. Now,
mm,
I don't know how that works, and fuck me, that's what I'm looking to get to. I hear it's
yeah,
possible, and I don't know how. But I think
mm,
that's the ultimate place to go to, is to be able to show
mm,
up and be okay. But equally, like
yeah,
I said, I don't think that can, for me, I don't think that happens in isolation. It's
mm,
having that support structure saying, hey, you're okay. And I love you for who you are. I mean,
yeah,
you know, we have to love ourselves first before anyone else can love us.
absolutely,
And we put it
absolutely.
there first, right?
Mm. Yeah, and I really, I think it's an amazing thing that we're choosing to do this together, because I do believe it's about connecting. I believe that, one of my sayings is the future of community is connectedness, and I really believe it is about coming together and supporting each other and kind of being okay just with being okay and supporting each other through that, and I think more and more people are really looking for this kind of mentoring or whatever you want to, however you want to call it, but it's that they're looking for this guidance from people to say, hey man, she just is who she is and I love her for that. And I want to be more like that. I want to be more me. I want to be able to be okay with me, and I want to show up as me. And like you said, I want to stop hiding from the
Yeah.
world.
And
And
sorry, there's just a plane going over, Donna. I live in a bit of a flight path here.
yeah.
It's all fun and games when you're traveling, but when you're not, then it's... Yeah, no, I just wanted to sort of think of ways people do hide. Like, I hide by putting a perception out there in the world that I am shit hot. I've got it all together. I've got it all going on, similar to what you were saying. But in the meantime, I'm sitting home alone, frustrated, feeling lost, directionless. I also think, as we said, technology, hiding behind computers, but many women hide behind success. I don't want to do the self work because they so driven to achievement. There's hiding behind kids. There's hiding behind excuses. There's hiding behind spirituality. I
Yeah.
hidden behind, I'm not going to face it. I'm just going to meditate right now, or whatever, and so there's so many different ways we hiding behind money, and so many
Expectations. We hide behind expectations.
perfectionism, right? So many ways to hide, and and I'd love women to just sit still for 5 minutes and go, where am I hiding? Where am I genuinely hiding? And because I've spoken to a few women about this now and sharing this 2020 of coming out, I hadn't thought of that great label yet, but of not hiding. And so many women have said to me, I'm so tired of hiding. I just want to live the life that I was born to live. And I think just by doing this together, showing how it's done, and
failing at that sometimes too.
totally. Yeah. I think for me, I'd like to change that word to experimentation. Then I think the whole thing is going to be lessons from experimentation.
Absolutely.
That's it. And so the reason I've set myself a goal of traveling the world to speak to inspire, because I need some direction. So just saying, I want to be who I want to be, well, that's great, but how am I going to make that happen for myself in the world? And one of the ways I've been hiding is that I've been hiding from achieving that dream. And so I want to follow my dream as me, and I don't know. And how can we possibly fail if we've never done it before? So how do we know how it's going to turn out? And that's
absolutely.
So I just want to wrap it up, because we'll be discussing these different topics as they come up. We'll be doing Facebook Lives, and and we'll just work it out as we go. We don't quite know, but it's such a big thing about discussing connection and friendships and money and all those different aspects. But all we ask now for women to do really is to, first of all, follow us on the socials, and we'll put the links in. Share how you think you may be hiding. What's your
absolutely?
How have you been hiding? And that would be great. Please share that with us.
And share your story. Share your story. It's all about kind of opening up. Some people don't share their story, and I know for a fact for me, it took me years to share my story with anybody. My first husband didn't know anything about my story, and I was married to him for 11 years.
Wow, that's
and so, that's sharing your story and opening up and being okay with that. And being in a safe space where you're able to do that is incredible. And it's taken me to a place where you've interviewed me, and where I'm, in a new idea on the 30th of December. The new issue for 2020 is coming out, a new idea. And so, it's so powerful if you can share your story knowing that you're okay with it, and that hopefully in doing so, it may have a positive impact on somebody's life.
Yeah, and also, I mean, when we say sharing, what I think, you don't have to necessarily do that publicly, might that not be, but you can go, and if you've been hiding something, you go and get some help on how to process that, share that with a coach or a counselor, or just share that story, let go of that shame, and share it in whatever capacity feels right for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And and the only way we can discover who we are is through experimentation. And the beautiful thing about experimentation is that we grow, and we just become I don't want to use more, because I think we really are exactly who we need to be, but we just discover more of who we are, and that it's just coming back in and discovering who we are. And at the ultimate level, I think we are all just love. We're just this bundle of love.
Absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree with you.
Come from there. But that's the process we all want to go through, and that's what we're going through this year.
Yeah.
So like us on social media, follow us, share this with your friends. Please come on board. And just follow us and share. And, as we go through stuff, we'll come up with more things for you to get involved. Because, of course, Donna and you and I don't want to do this on our own. The whole idea is to build community and to get
absolutely
globally. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. So let's connect, let's share. And let's come together and support each other, guys. Absolutely no shaming. Like, honestly, this is the place for support, right? I just want to
come from a loving heart. Yeah,
a loving heart. And if you feel you can't do that, then it's time to step away for a bit and come back to your truth, right? I'm just putting that out there.
Yes, I appreciate that. And you're going to be putting the links into this video too, where they can share. Yep.
So cool. So Donna, I think that's fine, because I think we've been talking forever, which I love. So yes, guys, that's it from us, but you'll see heaps more of us. Love you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to 2020. It's going to be a visionary, exciting year.
What's that hashtag coming out? Coming out 2020, maybe. We'll work it out. Ciao.
All right. See ya.
Hello, fabulous woman on fire. I trust that this interview helped you get closer to your red hot truth. So give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. Thank you for supporting the Red Hot Truth, and we'll see you next time.